Okay, so at this point you should have most of the skills learned that if you wanted to, you could go ahead and finish the website from this point. I just wanted to spend a little bit of time clarifying some of the things that we've done and explaining a few things that we have not looked at so far. So starting with just an overview of where things will sit inside your work, and some of these extra tags that we haven't looked at. So we'll start here. We've got a Doctype tag at the top, and that tells the browser what the type of document is that you're serving. In this case HTML, and there's different types of HTML documents, different versions essentially of HTML, which is what all this information here is. You can go and look up different doc types, just do a Google search for Doctype and you'll see there's different types of definitions that you can provide here, but essentially as long as you make sure you have a stock standard doc type listed at the top, which Dreamweaver gives us automatically, you should be fine. Then from there we get an HTML tag telling the browser that we're launching into some HTML and HTML based document. You may find, depending on your Dreamweaver setup, that there's a little bit more information in here that goes alongside the HTML. You won't need to worry about that for now, and you can actually just take it out and leave it at this. You'll find that your website will still work fine. Then we've got the head sections and the body sections, and it's important to note where the stuff that we write has to sit within these two main sections. So the head section contains the title of the website, such as this one here. The title is tutorial track, so the title is what we see here, what we see in our tab, and also what you on a Windows computer will see in your start menu down the bottom. The other thing that we store in our head, within our head tags, is our CSS style sheet, or a link to an external style sheet, something we'll talk about in a minute. But essentially the contents of the head section are things that are not usually seen on your website itself, as opposed to the body section here, which is where the majority of our HTML sits. And you can think of the body section pretty much what starts here on our browser window, between the main window pane of our browser, from the top to the bottom of that this is the body of the website, the content, and anything that doesn't relate directly to the content sits inside the head section. So that's why we have the head and the body. I've just gone ahead and added a paragraph of text here, for instance, and you'll note that it's important that the text content of our site, this stuff here, sits inside our body. And remember, it's also a good idea to get into the habit of indenting your code. So I've just selected all of that and hit tab, so I can very quickly see in this instance what's inside my body. It doesn't sort of matter at first when you're starting out, but particularly when you start using lots of divs, as you do with a web design, if you indent your code, you can very quickly see which divs contain which content. So we'll leave it at that. Next thing I want to do is just cover a few other things relating to CSS and talk a little bit more about stuff that we've done up to this point.